Buenas noches a todos. Bienvenidos a la Movie Magic Show. Miércoles 23 de febrero. Soy uno de tus anfitriones, Shane Bailey. Me acompaña mi elenco malvatamente talentoso. To my right. He loves his VR and shaking his hips like Shakira. Please welcome the era of Jason Mira.
Buenos días, señorita, señor.
Buenas noches. Good evening, Jason.
Buenas noches, señorita, señora.
To his right, it's the dulcet tones in your headphones, here to engineer a sincere atmosphere, Terry Fear.
Buenas noches.
And to his right, it's the film filleting, TV show hating, thought elaborating Mr. Movies, Ben Stapleton.
Hey.
How are we, guys? Do you like that?
Yeah,
Wow.
good.
Spanish, Spinito, my to celebrate Encanto.
Yeah, nice.
I like it.
I looked that up
That's
like 2
fine.
minutes ago.
I'm a big fan.
I couldn't commit it to memory, so I'm just referring to my notes over here.
nice.
How are we? How are you, Jace?
Wow, I'm good now. Yeah,
I've thrown him
I
off
feel
so
like
much that he didn't say living the dream, guys.
I'm living,
Yeah.
living the dream.
That's how good that was.
The dream is
I'm-
alive and well.
I'm good, yeah.
That's
I'm pumped now. Let's go.
Dulcet Tones, how are
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, pretty well, thanks. Pretty well. It's a happy hump day.
Happy hump day indeed. Mr. Movies, Ben, how are you?
Wednesday, man.
I usually am feeling about as well as the last movie I watched, so I'm feeling pretty lousy.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
That's not going to be one of this week's movies, I hope.
It depends if we have time to talk about.
No,
it or
I've
not.
already decided in my mind that we're going to push it to next week. So
All right.
there you go. You got a whole
There you go.
7 days to
Dwell on it.
Yeah, dwell on it and just feel miserable. Hello to everyone in chat, including Maxi Geek, who is here from the
Hey,
start of the
Maxi.
show. How are
Maxi
you, my
Geek.
friend? Good to see you. For those joining us for the first time, this is the Movie Magic Show. Buenas noches, everyone. Welcome. Every Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, we chuckleheads get together right here on twitch.tv/magic_cast to love, like, bash, and trash the latest the entertainment world has to offer. If you like that, follow us also on YouTube. Just search Magic Cast, all one word, on YouTube. Find my channel there. Catch all our past episodes, our past reviews on my YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Twitter at Movie Magic Show. We'll notify you when we're going live and which films we're going to be reviewing. Speaking of films we're going to be reviewing this week, we have I think a great lineup of content. I'm really excited to talk about it. We're going to kick it off with The Help, a 2011 film
Nice.
starring Emma Stone. We'll then dive into the Book of Boba Fett and quickly touch on our thoughts for that series now that it has wrapped. And we will finish things off with Walt Disney Studios' 60th film, Encanto,
60th.
which is currently
60th.
available on Disney Plus. Before we get to those topics, though, we need to set up our end games. These are games we like to play with you at the end of the show. First among them are our film quotes. We're going to give you 2 quotes. You need to guess which films they're from. I defer to Mr. Movies Ben Stapleton for movie quote number 1.
Forgive me, I have to read this one. It's pretty lengthy. Here we go. This is Van Hoytel's exquisite portrayal of a beautiful boy on the cusp of manhood. Blonde, smooth, skin as white as that milk, of impeccable providence, one of the last in private hands, and unquestionably the best. It's a masterpiece. The rest of this shit is worthless junk.
Oh,
I know this, Jason. That's what I said to you. I told Jason. I said, Ben sent me his. I know that I know it, and it's gonna annoy me that I
from-
guess it.
Delightful.
Okay.
Anyway,
Yep.
and movie quote number 2, courtesy of Mr. Mira.
All right. This is a 2-personer. How's our first relationship going? It's so bad that I keep fantasizing that one of us is dying of cancer so that I don't have to break up with her.
I don't know if I know this one.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is, like you said with the last one, Shane, this is the one I know.
You know this one. Okay, well, that's good.
But I don't know what it is.
Great picks for
yeah.
quotes. Great picks for quotes this
Yeah,
week. If
thank
you
you,
know
thank
them,
you.
chat. Let us know at the end of the show. We'll try and we'll give you the answers then as well. And the other game we like to play is 6 Degrees. We're going to give you 2 actors. You need to try and link them
Yes.
via fellow actors they have starred alongside. The Dulcet Tones of Terry Fear has our pairing this evening.
We do, and such a fine pairing. We have Jackie Earl Haley, and we're linking that fellow to Betty White.
The legend.
Yes.
Betty White and
Remind
Jackie
you-
Earl Haley.
Remind
Let's
me who
go.
Jackie Earl Haley
Jackie
is.
Earl Haley plays Rorschach in The Watchmen.
You're here with me.
Oh.
What's the quote? You're in here
Yeah,
with me.
it's like, I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. As he's getting like escorted away and
Yeah.
beaten by the guards.
Hello to
after
Watana
absolutely
Jr. in the chat as well. Hello, my
Slobbering that
friend.
guy with the dinner tray.
Anyway, they are our end games. Stick around to the end of the show and we'll give you the answers then. Before we get to the end of the show, let's get to the start of the show with our first review. It is going to be of The Help, which is a 2011 period drama film written and directed by Tate Taylor and based on Catherine Stockett's 2009 novel of the same name. The film features an ensemble cast, including Jessica Chastain, Viola Davis,
Ensemble.
Cicely Tyson, Bryce Dallas Howard, Alison Jamie, Octavia Spencer, and Emma Stone in one of her earlier prominent roles. The film and novel recount the story of a young white woman, an aspiring journalist, Eugenia Skeeter
Right.
Felon. The story focuses on her relationship with two black maids, Abilene Clark and Minnie Jackson during the civil rights movement in 1963 Jackson, Mississippi. In an attempt to become a legitimate journalist and writer, Skeeter decides to write a book from the point of view of the maids, exposing the racism they face as they work for white families. Black domestic workers in the 1960s America were referred to as the Help, hence the title of the journalistic expose, the novel, and the film. DreamWorks Pictures acquired the screen rights to Stockett's novel in March 2010 and quickly commissioned the film, with casting beginning later that month and principal photography following 4 months after in Mississippi. The film is an international co-production between companies based in the US, India, and the UAE. Touchstone Pictures released The Help worldwide with a general theatrical release in North America in August of 2011. The film was a critical and commercial success, grossing $216 million worldwide and receiving positive reviews from critics who mostly praised the acting, particularly that of Davis, Spencer, Chastain, and Stone. Though the film's depiction of race drew some criticism as having a white savior narrative. The Help received 4 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, Best Actress for Davis, and Best Supporting Actress for both Chastain and Spencer, with the latter winning the award. The film also won the Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Performance by a Cast in a Motion Picture. Despite its many Oscar noms, the Metascore sits at a rather low 62, while IMDb rating from 445,000 users stands tall at 8.0, putting it within arm's reach of a spot in the site's top 250 films. My goodness, I'm tripping over my words. Rotten Tomatoes, gentlemen. Take a guess.
75.
What did you say the Metascore was?
62, 8 from audiences.
91.
Oh.
What did you just say, Jace?
He said 75.
75.
76.
76 it is! Oh, Terry goes in late steal!
What? Oh my god.
I'm going to force
That's
Terry to go first
fantastic.
next time.
Yeah,
He's
wow.
playing Price is Right game over here.
Yeah, he is. Oh my god.
like nailed it though. Anyway,
Oh.
Nice.
Terry, it is with you, sir.
Yeah.
You win the
I-
right to go first. The Help. What did you think? I should
missed
say,
this film.
available Disney Plus if you'd like to check it out for yourself.
Oh, nice. Yes, very good. Good. I didn't see this film in the cinemas. I was introduced to this film by my wife Jen when we were just dating, and it's a really enjoyable film. I love Jessica Chastain's, because this isn't like the central thrust of this story is as you described. You have this social dynamic of a bunch of these white women from Mississippi, and the way that they treat the Help is pretty atrocious by and large, but also the way that they treat each other. So Jessica Chastain's character in this film is probably one of my favorite, because she's kind of like the woman who didn't settle down with a man, might be pregnant but is now kind of like an early divorcee, and so she's a social pariah, purely because she doesn't fit the mold of being a married white woman who stays at home while the husbands commute to the city and work whatever job it is that the husbands do, for these wives to have so much free time on their hands. And I don't know, I like the way that the relationships between some of these characters develop, because she's Chastain's character is quite wealthy, and she ends up having not Viola Davis, the other lady,
Octavia Spencer.
Taylor Spencer. She comes over. She's apparently a phenomenal cook. Like, everybody loves her. because she's a phenomenal house cook. And she ends up teaching Jessica Chastain like a whole bunch of stuff. They have a really cool dynamic where they become kind of relatively fast friends, or at least from my memory they do. And I don't know, I like that this kind of throws open some of the ways that people have treated one another socially in not just America. It happened in a lot of places, but the way that it was portrayed in this film is pretty fun. Like, it kind of the film gives me elements of like Mad Men vibes, where you've got Don Draper's wife at home who has like these relationships with these other women, and there's a woman that's down the road who's a divorcee, and then like it's taboo to be a friend, but she ends up being a friend anyway. It's just I don't know, this film kind of, because it's from a similar time period,
exact same
makes
time.
me,
I think
yeah,
Mad Men starts in the early 60s.
yeah, it kind of makes me think of it quite a lot. I don't know. There's stuff and quotes from the movie that come up on a regular basis. Like, Jen and I will consistently, it's probably been a little while since we've talked about it, but we talk about Viola Davis's line of "You is smart, you is kind, you is important," because like one of the mums, who's one of the more egregious racists in the film, has a daughter who she basically just abuses and mistreats, like doesn't want anything to do with her, only wants the help to kind of interact and distract the child, because she just doesn't have time to like, she can't even like right now. And so Viola Davis is the one that's essentially raising this child, and does a phenomenal job of instilling some moral fiber and values in the child in the mix. I love how this film takes like this really quirky, like there's these practical jokes that unfold, like because the help, essentially they rebel against these women, even though it's going to cost them their employment, even if for a short time. But like the fact that they completely cover this racist woman's front yard with like toilets, and that's like, I don't know, it just makes me think of like forking, when people would just, in Australia, would go and stick forks in people, like plastic forks in people's front lawn as a practical joke. But this was like
Something we
whole
did.
toilet seats. Well, this is something that some people on the Central Coast did. Like I
That doesn't
didn't
surprise me.
necessarily
I've
do
never
it, but
heard
it
of this
was
before.
really, it was kind of like, I don't know,
Is this like planking?
before planking, early 2000s youth groups, I think, would do this to other members of the youth groups, families, and church
Okay.
groups. Maybe it was just a church thing, I don't know. But it made me think of that. And like gnoming, where you take someone's gnome and you put it somewhere else, or you collect all the gnomes you can and put it on one person's thing and make it look like all the gnomes are having like a secret meeting. But it was toilet seats. I don't know, it's been a long time since I've seen the film, but I distinctly remember the scene where Spencer's character feeds the pie to the racist lady, and like she even manages to make the contents of that pie taste good, which is a testament to her skill as a cook. But the way that she, I don't know, can we spoil this stuff? Like, it's a
When did
2011
it come out?
film.
2011. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 11 years old, Terry. Come on.
She
Let's give people a
puts her
chance.
own feces into this pie that she makes, and then feeds it to this racist lady who's, I think is it her mum or mother-in-law that lives with her? The like,
Actual mother.
Actual
does,
mother.
that's
yeah.
her actual mother. Yeah. Who's apparently relatively lovely. As she kind of escapes, she finds it hysterical. But Spencer's just like, you're eat my shit, like just in her face, like real, like, ugh. And she's just beside herself. I think it's hilarious that's what it's gross. It's gross to think about, but yeah, she managed to make it taste not only palatable but good, apparently, which I don't ever want binging with Babish to do the help pie, because that's just not yeah, I don't think that's good. Don't think that's good.
Yeah.
I don't think
at
that's
all.
making it in his cookbook.
Yes. It's like, yeah, Babish's cookbook redux. It's just all of the stuff that shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
I don't have much else to say. I can kind of understand the criticism to say that there's like a white savior thing, but like the film is based on actual events that a person did. They went in, they kind of tried to put a spotlight onto what happened, and I don't think that it's fair to characterize anything that someone does purely based on the color of their skin from both directions. If a white person is doing something to get behind and alongside marginalized group of whatever variety, I think that it's coming at it from the wrong perspective to say that that person has a white savior complex, because it attributes to them the same racism that other people have. I can understand why they would say it, because the character that's doing the helping and the uplifting and the shedding the light is a white person, but to characterize their motivations to be for their own edification rather than it being the right thing to do, I think is cynical and jaded. I can't get behind that kind of thought or perspective, because I just don't think that it sits right or fits correctly. It's like attributing some type of nefarious malice to an altruistic action when it just doesn't need to be there. I think that a good deed, even a good deed that might be coming from a place of malice, if it does genuine good, isn't necessarily a bad thing. But yeah, I think it's kind of messed up that this is what American society was like, and I would be interested to find out if this was the kind of stuff that happened maybe in Australia. I don't think that Australians historically saw much value at all in the indigenous population, so I don't know if they would have been trusted to do that kind of thing, as in trusted to prepare food for them and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. Similar to 12 Years a Slave, this kind of makes you feel somewhat uncomfortable, which I think is appropriate, because I don't think we're meant to ignore or deny the existence of the problematic parts of modern history just for the sake of our own comfort or peace of mind. But it's still it's confronting. It makes you feel uncomfortable, and I think that that's a good thing that it's done to make you feel that. But that's about all I've got to say, I think.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Before I pass it to you, Jason, thanks to Fat Loser for the follow, and also a question in chat. Jason has posted the link there. The donate tile in my about section leads to Feel the Magic, which is Australia's leading grief education organisation. They support kids and their families who have lost loved ones, so you can read more on their website. Mr. Mirror, you're 1 point away from scoring, going first. Terry stole it from you, so I'll go to you next.
That's fine.
Was this your first viewing of The Help?
So I didn't get a chance to watch The Help the second time around, but I've seen The Help when it came out. I think it was 2012 was when I got around to actually watching it. I think we watched it on DVD from the DVD store when it came out. I know.
I
remember
release.
DVD store.
I know.
Video Easy. Was it Civic Video or Video Easy?
No, I think it was. It's Video Easy at
right
Tuggerah, just down the road from the Macca's there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's right. It's not there anymore.
No.
It's a gym.
Nice.
So, but I'm happy that Terry went first, because a lot of my my thoughts were from what I remember watching it, and one of the most memorable parts was the pie part, because I think that's probably the most shocking thing about it. But I think I failed to come up with good points to discuss. So I'm sorry, Shane. I let you down this time around. But I think it's I think this type of film, and I think this type of book is important, and from a lot of the points that Terry says, to to talk about some of the things that happened, and this might be based on some things that may or may not have happened, but talking about the hardships of those back in that era of America. It's important to understand and learn about the type of things that happen. So we learn about history. We learn about I don't want to use the word mistakes, but some of the things that we could do better. So I'm happy that this film is out
repeating.
there. Yeah,
or avoid repeating.
happy this film happens. I'm angry at myself for not watching it again because I do need to get around to watching it again, and I highly encourage everyone to go watch it. Just because I didn't watch it a second time around for the episode doesn't mean that I didn't like it. I did like it, so just go check it out. And I'm gonna quickly throw it to Ben before I fumble it even more than I already have.
Thanks, Jace. So my context here is I had never seen it before. I didn't know what it was at all. The film started playing, and then I learned what the movie was and what it was about, and watched it.
Did you know who was in it, Ben?
I know. Well, yes. Like 10 minutes before we played it, or a little bit more than that, perhaps. Caitlin, who had seen it, was telling me about who was in it, and she just mentioned all the white actresses, which I thought was funny. And then we started watching it, and I'm like, oh, Octavia Spencer, I love Octavia Spencer, you know, and
Yeah.
all these other people coming
Yeah.
up. Oh, she did mention that. She was like, oh, damn it, Viola Davis is in it too, and Octavia Spencer's, damn, I missed all those people. That's so
Yeah.
funny. But
I love Viola Davis.
I honestly thought that I was being tricked again into watching some sort of Mean Girls
Oh,
comedy of high school girls love this movie, and somehow you guys also liked it, and
For
now tricking me.
context, we
into watching it.
went on holidays recently together and trapped Ben in the living room and put on Mean Girls. He had never seen it
Nice.
before, so
It was
Saying
very-
like, oh, it's a
very
classic.
catchy.
You have to see Mean Girls, guys. If you haven't seen Mean Girls, you do not have to see Mean Girls. It is only for the people that saw it when they were young and
I
silly.
went even there.
Napoleon
I saw it when I
Dynamite.
was young. I like it.
yeah. It's like Napoleon Dynamite. I've not seen it.
Yeah,
I've
it's
seen it.
exactly like Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
no desire to watch Napoleon Dynamite. I've never seen it.
100% just going to waste your time if you watch Napoleon Dynamite right now. That's a full adult with a brain that's all working and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought the help was going to be, like just to like I'm folding my arms and I'm already consigned to being tricked into another movie, and straight away I'm noticing so it's trying to make you laugh by saying clearly absurd things as if they're normal, like when Alison Janney suspects Eugene, what's her name? The main character.
Skeeter.
Emily Blunt's character. Sorry?
Skeeter.
Skeeter of being gay. And she said like there's a tablet I've heard, or a tea, is what she said. There's a tea that can cure that lesbianism thing, and that's supposed to be funny because of how absurd it is. And the idea of, well, the thing that made me chuckle, the first thing that made me chuckle was the thing that that Viola Davis says about raising other people's babies, and they have the or she said something about they have the audacity to say that they raised their own children where they hardly ever see their babies. That made me chuckle, and I can't remember how exactly she said it. And then the big one, which has a flow-on effect, pardon the pun, is the use of the toilet. Like having black people use your toilet is how you transmit disease, is the theory, because we're different races and they carry different kind of diseases, and we don't want to mix that in. Or I don't know how the logic makes it all the way to a conclusive point, but that was the idea behind the point. And it's supposed to that one is when I started paying attention, because I'm thinking that's just another one that I'm supposed to chuckle about and then we move on. But that one was actually an actual thing that caused a huge major plot line in the movie to go off. And to be perfectly frank, I had no idea what they were talking about. Like, you see her like coloring in the sheets of toilet paper, like with a pencil, like earmarking them so that if someone uses them without her knowing, she'll know, kind of deal. And then Minnie and
Aibileen?
Aibileen, yes. Minnie and Aibileen are chatting when the girls are all having a bridge day in the kitchen, and they're chatting about the fact that she's not allowed to go in the regular bathroom. And I'm like, oh, this is actually a thing. Like, okay, this is what they're talking about. To be honest, I hadn't switched on as to what was happening until they were actually saying, so I bring my toilet paper from home and she don't know the difference and stuff. And then I was thinking like, can they not hear toilets flush in the house or something. I guess the white lady has to go out or whatever. So you
Yeah,
just go,
and
you
also
go
like
down.
big house.
Big house, I guess. Also makes sense. Anywho, I thought it was a really fun movie. I liked the trifecta of redheads that they scored for the
Yeah.
movie. You've got the Emma Stone,
Oh
and you've got
yeah.
Jessica Chastain, and you've got Bryce Dallas Howard, the big three.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of redheads like me, and so it was a delight to see that happening. It's a joke for everyone who knows that Caitlin has got red hair.
Yeah.
Then, oh man, but Shane, Octavia Spencer is the best thing in this whole movie. She is just so funny and so like she's perfectly emotive. She's got the most gorgeous emotive face. Like she's got this cute chinless kind of round. I don't know what it is about it, but it's like perfectly expressive. She can go from like really cross to puzzled to like happy. It like just with like her eyebrow. Like there's something about her face. It's like a Jim Carrey kind of face where it can do anything.
Yeah.
And she has this line where she's talking to Jessica Chastain's character about getting caught out, her husband catching her. So she's been hired by Jessica Chastain to make her a better housewife to her husband, and she wants to make him think that she's doing it all herself. So she comes after the husband goes to work, and she leaves before he comes home, and she teaches how to cook and clean and be a good wife or whatever, I suppose. And I also loved how the movie doesn't want us to clutch our pearls at that concept, but the bigger problem in the 60s as were in Mississippi. But anywho, aside from that, she's talking about how maybe she says something like, maybe I should burn the food a little bit so he's not catching on. And she just like deadpan is like, Minnie don't burn chicken.
Yeah.
And she's got this real serious look about it. That was...
I forgot that line.
I remember my note here, Minnie don't burn chicken, best line in the movie. That's what I've got written. Until the real best line in the movie happens, which really hit me in the feels and actually jerked a tear, was Alison Janney's line, courage sometimes skips a generation. I love that line.
Yeah.
Because she finally had, it's a really long story about her character arc, but she fired the maid, and she was adhering to peer pressure, like racism through peer pressure or whatever, and she just didn't have the backbone to stand up to her girlfriends and just do whatever the hell she wanted to do with her own household. And like full props to her. Like peer pressure is a real thing, you know, and in this case it was like explicit. It was like 8 old white women sitting around the dining table, like crossing their arms and just like, well, are you going to do anything about this situation? Like, you know, well, what are you going to do about this? And that kind of thing. And then you just put on the spot, and it's like, 10 out of 10 people would do what Alison Janney's character did in that situation, just out of the insurmountable social pressures of it all. But at any rate, she finally, you know, has a moment of redemption, and sticks up for her daughter, and kicks Bryce Dallas Howard off her property or whatever, and then admits that to her, that she was a coward. And I love that line. The you know, just admitting that you were cowardice is a real brave thing. I quite liked the courage sometimes skips a generation. So I wrote that, and I said that's the real best line, because it got me in the feels. You know, it got me in the wrapping up the loose ends and all the plot lines and stuff. It got me in the movie is good. Let's cap it off, kind of perfect moment kind of deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the end, I went from, you know, shrug and maybe arms crossed and frowny face. Here I am getting tricked again into watching some sort of teenage chick flick or something. And you know what it was? It was because it was like the cast was just all women, and I was just like, I don't understand is this another Mean Girls? Because it's just all chicks bickering
Yeah.
or whatever. And that was a bunch of it. Like it was just lots of bullying and so on from one or
Yeah.
two popular or particularly malevolent actors. And the men were almost not to be seen. They were just always off working or whatever. But there's actually a pearl of a film under this one. I quite enjoyed whoever it was that recommended that we see it. I think it was just you, Shane. You just heard that I hadn't seen it before.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it either. It's been on my list for a longest time. I think we found it we noticed it was on Disney Plus. So
I think I might have mentioned that I saw it on Disney Plus, and then you were immediately like eyes lit up, Shane, saying that you hadn't seen it. So
it's a sign to watch it.
I thought it was expressly particularly interesting that it managed to pull off what it did. Like you got a few scenes following the lynching of Emmett Till and the black outrage in all across America that happened just after that, and the JFK stuff that and the assassination of Malcolm X and especially Martin Luther King as well, that surrounded that period. That all kind of just perfectly ebbed and flowed around the backbone of the story, which I thought was really nice. I really loved the female angle at the end of it. I actually quite enjoyed this theme of Black women raising white girls to become racist adults. That part really was interesting to think about. The idea that this little girl that Viola Davis is raising and saying that line. Sorry, I forget what it was. He was
kind. He was
important.
He was good.
I said it.
I'll find it.
Oh my goodness. I said it like
smart.
You was kind, you was smart, you was important.
You was kind, smart, important. Yeah.
That's it. And like for all signs point to this little girl is gonna grow up to be a smart and strong woman, but for some reason the cycle is that she grows out of this well-rounded girl and becomes just like her mum and has the help, who receives very little pay and of course no benefits of any kind, and is working to raise some white lady's kids while her own kids are at home with the aunt or with the grandmother or whatever. It was a really interesting angle to it that I loved thinking about, just how it's possible in the first place, and the idea that it was happening before our eyes, and I quite enjoyed that part of it. Anyway, I'll shut up and let you speak now, Shane.
Yeah, I think a lot of what I want to say is covered. Performances across the board are absolutely phenomenal, and like you said, Ben Spencer is the standout for this one. No surprise that she won Best Supporting Actress.
Did she? Great.
2012 awards, yeah. I particularly like the dynamic between her and Chastain. There's just like a difference in, I suppose, like personality and background. Like they're completely at odds with one another in terms of their life experience and their expectations. And I like that, sort of Chastain's or what's the character's name? I want to find out. It was Celia Foote. That Celia's ditziness is like almost like this awkward, weird, refreshing change of pace that Minnie hasn't encountered before, and she has new challenges in taking that on board. So I like that whole angle, and I also like not to pull away from the main theme about around racism and that sort of thing, but I like the social prejudices on display here that Celia's character is subject to from the likes of Hilly and the other white women closer to the center of town. Like you said, like those differences, that being a social pariah, the not fitting the mold of what it meant to be a successful white woman in the 1960s in Mississippi. She also was subject to this just cruel behavior from her own neighbors. So I thought that was really sad. And just as a whole, like a film like this, again, it pulls at my heartstrings as well, because I find it so difficult to comprehend the idea that people, particularly black people, were subject to this kind of thing not like barely 60 years ago.
Yeah, there's
it is
tons
insane.
of people,
Yeah.
tons of people still alive
Exactly.
that were in like their 20s when this was happening.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Incredibly sad. So yeah, it reminded me of films that explore similar themes like 12 Years a Slave, Django, that sort of thing. So and I also noticed there are a couple of other films that I suppose play in this area as well that explore these themes on Disney Plus that I probably will check out. One of them being Hidden Figures. I think the story.
We haven't seen Hidden Figures, Shane.
I haven't seen Hidden Figures. No. Black women within
the
NASA.
math. Yeah, the NASA math specialists.
Yeah. So definitely want to see that. That is teed up to watch. So we might review that one in the future. Other than that, I also enjoyed the angle that that Janie's character brought as well. I thought that was like a cool side story that again had its own play into the main story arc, like you noted, Ben. So I really enjoyed this one. I think it's a 100% recommend. I'm just happy it is now off my list. Like I'm disappointed that I didn't get to this one sooner. I think it's a great film. Definitely worth checking out.
Nice.
Any final thoughts, boys?
Viola Davis has a awesome face plant, or her stunt double does when she's running home from the bus when King has been. No, that was when Emmett Till was killed, or his body was found. And there's like roadblocks and stuff, and then the bus driver just goes, "All the blackies get off and get home," and then there's like real danger everywhere right now. It's nighttime. There's intense feelings running hot everywhere, and stuff is going down. There's lots of energy, and she's running home, and she absolutely
Shit.
meat crayon all over the driveway. She's almost home. She's like completely plants. I love that. Like that was a really good stunt.